July 12, 2020. The pandemic, the great pandemic. Could there be any doubt that we are in the age of deceit? And I had heard stories about the 1917 pandemic. Something around 10% of the population of the world died from that. So statistically, if you were in a room full of people and you said, do you know anybody that died? Probably every person in that room would be able to at least name 10 people that they personally knew who died. So let's fast forward to this pandemic that we have here in the age of deceit, in the age of deception. I don't know any. I know about 4 people who tested positive, that 3 of whom wouldn't even have known that they had anything at all. But what I am very interested in finding out is an average of the annual deaths in the United States from all causes: heart attacks, auto accidents, drowning, suicide, cancer, liver, kidney, stroke, and figure out what those totals are for an average over from 2014 to 2019. If you had that broken down by quarter for the first half of each of those years and average that out, and then do it for this year, for the first 2 quarters, first half of this year, and see if there's any difference in the average numbers. I would be willing to bet that if it is at all higher, it's only slightly higher total. So that means that either Corona is curing cancer and accidental drownings and auto accidents and all of those other causes of death, or we're being deceived. So what's interesting is in my change of perspective over the last few years and being able to look at things from a more spiritual point of view rather than a human or political point of view, that what this all really comes down to me is a result of the battle between good and evil, God and Satan. And whether you want to believe that Satan is for real or not, if we take a look at the Bible on this, it's a pure, an entity of pure, unadulterated evil that is hard to even think of in terms, in human terms. So when we see the completely self-destructive nature of the chaos in this world, that to me is the only way that it can be explained. And somebody long ago once said that one of the greatest deceptions that Satan ever pulled off was convincing people that he wasn't for real. And I really do truly believe that. This whole scamdemic is, to me, really an assault on human interaction, and also just a massive generation of fear. And you watch the news over and over. It just plays over and over. Fear-based reporting, and not much of it very accurate either. Very deceitful in nature. And so, what would be the motivation if you were looking at this from a political point of view? Maybe to bring people to such a level of fear that they'll be ready to take a vaccination, and that the drug companies are behind all this to make billions of dollars. Well, I could see that as being a middle management kind of approach to things from Satan, who's up at the top of the pyramid running this show. that he would incentivize people to do the deception. But I think that the level of deception that we're witnessing just goes far, far beyond human power. I don't think it can be explained in human terms. And when I look back on the first Gulf War, for instance, and just the bombardment of the media on the Saddam Hussein and what a horrible person, and then remember the little girl in Congress that said that Saddam soldiers took the babies out of the incubators and put them on the ground for them to die. And I can remember when I was watching that thinking, man, something just does not smell right here. And sure enough, many years later, it came out that that was totally contrived. But man, did the media run with that. And we go through to today, and now they're making announcements that we're going to have to be wearing masks, through the end of the year, or who knows how long. They also seem to be kind of priming us for the next wave and potential lockdown that might ensue from that. And I think it's a fear-based deception to lead us into division, isolation, and with the end goal of either the destruction of or the corruption of God's creations. So, and maybe that's the real purpose behind beating us down to the point where we'll take this vaccination just to get out from under the thumb of these lockdowns and wearing the masks and the constant fear. So what I struggle with is I've taken on a suggestion several years ago from a friend that said, when you're ready to think, do, or say anything, before you do that, take a pause and ask yourself, is what I'm going to think, do, or say, is it going to help anybody? Is it going to hurt anybody? Or is it in any way selfish? And I've up to this point been really kind of trying to keep my mouth shut on my opinions on this whole pandemic. And I don't know whether that's how that squares up with those three questions. If I see an obvious wrong and I don't point it out, is that helping anybody? No. Is it hurting anybody? Potentially, yes. Is it in any way selfish that I don't point these things out? Maybe yes, in the fact that I wouldn't have to take any backlash for putting that opinion out there from other people. So on the other side of the coin, if I do what I'm doing right now in trying to expose this destructive situation that we're under, is it helping anybody? I don't know. I'd like to think that it would help to relieve the fear of people, especially when they watch the news every day and it's just bombardment of just one fear story after another. So is it hurting anybody? I don't know. I suppose that it might be hurting somebody's ego. It's a very difficult thing to come to the realization that you've been taken. You bought the lie. That's hurting somebody's ego. I don't know if it's hurting their overall well-being. And is it in any way selfish for me to be pointing these things out that I see as the truth? I don't know. I struggle with this. That three questions: is it going to hurt anybody? Is it going to help anybody? And is it in any way selfish? Seems simple on the face of it, but sometimes is a very difficult thing to square up. One of the things that I found in the Bible is Ephesians chapter 4, verse 25, and it says, "Therefore each of you must put off falsehood and speak truthfully to his neighbor, for we are all members of one body." So, I don't know. I'm going to leave it at there, and we'll see how this whole thing plays out. But I'm still trying to square it up. Thanks, and have a great day.